Stephen Mugwenzi, and hope you're having a great Saturday. Today is the 21st of January. We're already 3 weeks into the year, and this is the dive into the book of Proverbs, where we can get insight for living. We want to know how we can do life better. The older that we get, we want to make sure that we're looking to do life better, and hopefully it becomes easier. And like I said, I really honestly believe that the Bible is the place where they get a lot of these business. The Bible essentially is the best business guide out there. And I think it's great to buy other books. I think it's important to do that. But I think that if you take the time to read your Bible with a different lens of like, what can I learn from a business perspective? There's lots of things, lots of little sayings that we do get in the book of Proverbs, but in also other areas that you can definitely use to improve the performance of your business and just begin to change the way that you think. And I like, of course, we know that one of the scriptures says that as a man thinketh, so he is. So if you think of yourself lowly, then of course that's how you're going to act, and that's the lens by which everything that you do in your life is going to be filtered through that. So Proverbs 21, lots of stuff to say. I'm not going to get into the whole chapter, but there is a lot of stuff there that I think I could discuss without making it unnecessarily long. There's things of stewardship, some verses I think that are just interesting question mark verses, and we'll probably try to glean a lot of those. And so I think the first one is verse number 1, number 5, number 30 and 31. And so verse number 1 says, the king's heart is like a stream of water directed by the Lord. He guides it wherever he pleases. Verse 5 says, good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. It says, no human wisdom or understanding or plan can stand against the Lord. And verse 31, the horse is prepared for the day of battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord. Essentially what this is saying is that regardless of our preparations and efforts, victory is from the Lord. And so you can prepare all you want, and it's important to prepare, but victory is not guaranteed. That is the honest truth. We have athletes that train for 4 years, and in that they have to go through lots of testing to qualify for the Olympics. And even when they're at the Olympics, they go through heats to determine who's going to have the opportunity to run in the final race. When that race, they'll determine who the first, second, or third place individual is going to be. Now, all of those people that make it to the Olympics deserve a lot of congratulations, because it's a feat in itself. But to get to the final, where there's probably 8 runners, that's even better. But the only thing is that they recognize the top 3. And the funny thing is that, those top 3, or even that whole top 8, could only be separated by 1 second. But if you were to look at one gets gold, the first 3, number 1 gets gold, number 2 gets silver, and number 3 gets bronze. Number 4 might have just been a split second behind number 3, but they get nothing. And that is the exact same thing when it comes to horses. If you look at the prize pool, horse number 1 probably gets $2 million, and the second placed horse probably gets significantly less than that. But it could have only been just a small nose. And so even with all the preparation that we can do, a victory is never guaranteed. Even if you work hard, sometimes it doesn't mean that everything is going to work. It doesn't mean that with hard work, which you still should do, that there's going to be success in your life. That's not the case. And here I'm not saying that God doesn't want you to be successful. Of course he does. But all I'm saying is that we don't want to make it a cause and effect kind of thing, because that's not the way it operates, because there's a whole lot of things factors that may stop that from happening. It could be that you're just living in an environment where things just are not working. And so even regardless of all the hard work, you still might not be getting the level of success that you were hoping to achieve. So when you look at this verse 31, it says, the horse is prepared for the day of battle, but victory belongs to the Lord. Essentially saying that, you see, if you look at a horse was the tank of its day. Like the fighter jets that we have today. Now, we only know about tanks. I'll just talk about army tanks. And this was a valuable piece of military equipment, and it obviously gave the soldiers an absolute advantage. So what can we take from that? Business owners, we should prepare for the battle in their world, the competition, and that means that they have to do their best at their ability. The same thing for farmers. Prepare the land, do what you need to do, get the equipment that you need so that you can hopefully prepare for the ploughing and all of that. Students, same thing. Don't just expect that everything will just happen at a whim. No, you got to put in the hard work, do your homework, do whatever, so that you give yourself a good opportunity to succeed. And there's a common saying that goes, let go and let God. So you know what it's going to, and so I think the let go here is essentially, if we're looking at business speak or cost benefit analysis speak, it will be the option where you do nothing. So normally when you're doing a cost benefit analysis, you're trying to see that what would change, what would be the cost if we introduce whether it's a new product. So there's the option which is called the do nothing option, and then of course the do something option. Now this let go and let God is essentially saying do nothing and let God do what God does. Now the reality is that we don't want to be that naive or that presumptuous and just thinking that God is going to do everything, because God has given us responsibility to do some stuff. And so yes, we should let God have his way. I think that's a given. That's what we mean, God have his way. But don't let go of the steering wheel for your life, because when you let go, there's no safety and there's no victory. And so you have to understand that you got to do something. God's got to work with something. God has definitely got to work with something. Don't let go of the steering wheel of your life and hope that God will do it for you. And I'm here to tell you, and this is why we're doing this dive into Proverbs, that he will not. He's not going to drive for you. You will have to do that, and so that, because if you don't hold on to the steering wheel, you'll drift. And so God doesn't work instead of you. He works in and through you. And so the reality is that facing battle without preparation is utter foolishness. And that is the thing. If you are thinking of starting a business and you're just hoping, oh yeah, now the Lord will do it. You know, the Lord will do it. Oh yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. No, it doesn't work like that. You got to do your part, where you prepare your plans and then you give it over to the Lord. So this is what faith does. Faith prepares for battle, but it still trusts that God will do things in his way. There is still trust in the Lord. So faith prepares for battle, but it also trusts in God for safety and victory. And this is just to finish Proverbs 21, and this talk about planning is this thing about planning ahead. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. So this is an encouragement that planning is essential for our life, personally, in our businesses, in whatever endeavor we want to do. We have to plan. And then faith says, if it is the Lord's will, we will do this and that. We're not going to sort of like just think that, oh yeah, we'll do nothing and then God is going to do it for us. No, we have been given some level of authority and autonomy to make decisions for ourselves and to do things that will move you. And this is just my encouragement for somebody who's constantly been thinking about wanting to do a business or start a business or do something, and they're constantly wondering, oh, is this the right time? Should I do it? Should I not do it? And they're waiting on God. The best thing that you can do, and I'll encourage you with this, is that gather people that you trust that will give you advice, the proper advice, and take a step of faith, because there is nothing without risk. You got to do it. Okay, that's just some our ghetto slang. You have to put your foot in the water. Don't be those, you gotta dance. You have to get in the dance. Don't sit on the sidelines and watch your life go by and watch and celebrate other people. Be the one that other people celebrate, because you're putting your foot into it, into the water, and your feet are getting cold, and you are just experiencing it. And I think one thing that you will do is that you will come alive, because then all your senses are going to be triggered. It is just like we've become so accustomed to taking hot showers, and they are great. But you know, when you take a cold shower, all your senses come alive. And that's what happens when you begin to take steps of faith. All your senses come alive, and all your creativity and your focus becomes energized to move you in the direction that you need to go. So human beings, we are heat-seeking missiles. We will always adjust until we hit the target. And so it's never failing. Just like a missile, if it's set to hit a specific target and that target moves, it readjusts its course. That's what human beings are like. That's what failure is. Failure is just us readjusting up until we hit our target. So hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and catch you next time tomorrow. And God bless you. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and leaving your comments. Peace.